Hello and welcome to the Times Aerospace TV INSIGHT programme, where we do a deep dive into a particular company or sector in the aerospace industry across the region. I'm Alan Peaford, and today I'm talking to Fraser Currie, the Chief Commercial Officer of Joramco. Joramco has more than 50 years in the MRO business, having been created originally as the engineering arm of Royal Jordanian Airlines. But given its independence by the Jordan Government, in 2016, it became part of DAE. Fraser, welcome to the show. Well, Joramco certainly changed as a business, eh?
It is. I mean, look, it's so different. We changed the business fundamentally back in the back end of 2017. When Dubai Aerospace Enterprise took out the majority share. And that really was the catalyst for Jeff Wilkinson to come in as the CEO and start to manage the transformation of the business. So we took that, as you said, Alan, we took that airline MRO from a business that was running 4 or 5 lines of maintenance to a business that today is running 15 lines of very heavy maintenance, with a mixture of wide body and narrow body aircraft. So, you'd probably have noticed in the marketing that we've done, the business has gone from being a very quiet business from a brand perspective to being a very loud business, and we're now regarded as one of the major players. So yeah, I mean, it's changed a lot, but 2020 March was an absolute game changer.
So everything was looking rosy, and then wham, COVID came. How did that affect you straight away?
Straight away, it was Jordan went into a very proactive lockdown, effectively. Jordan as a country, was one of the first countries to go into a very serious lockdown. So initially it was about care and maintenance of customers' aircrafts that we had here. Secondly, it was about the care of the customers' representatives that were here. Because when you're running a line, a business of 15 aircraft, we had some 40 representatives in the facility who suddenly weren't allowed to travel, So it was about making sure that everyone was in a safe place and everyone was well looked after, and then taking care of the longer term solution about what are we going to do with these aircraft that are actually stuck here because the airport is in lockdown.
And of course, that's a real maintenance challenge in itself, isn't it? To close those aircraft down safely so they can start again. How did you cope?
And the one thing within aviation we're all very good at is dealing with crises, whatever it happens to be. So once we got the business stabilized and we got a crew of people back in on special permits to start to look after the aircraft, then it very quickly became a parking business. Aircraft went into the short-term parking at their own locations, and then it kicked in. Then when the airport slowly started to open again, it was a case of, right, we've got to get these aircraft out of here. Where can we put them? And then it was sort of a case of, working with the government to understand, well, how many people are we allowed back in? How can we manage the maintenance? And how are we going to get these aircraft out? Because we had no ability to bring crews in. So a combination of working with the local authority, with the Jordan Civil Aviation, and working with the Jordanian Government and the Crisis Centre here, we started to see a freeing up of aircraft being allowed to come in and out for maintenance.
Okay, so 8 months in, where do you see Joramco going as we start looking at the post-COVID era?
So one of the things that we've seen, Alan, is that our season is shifting. MRO in the Northern Hemisphere is quiet in the summer and chock-a-block in the winter. Now what we're seeing is we're still seeing a very busy winter, but we're seeing a busy winter with more end of lease checks than we've ever had. We're working now with the airport authorities to try and find space for, upwards of 80, 90 aircraft from major European fleets that are unfortunately still looking to park aircraft long term. Now, how 2021 looks is still going to be subject to whatever COVID does and whether we get a vaccine. But we're predicting a good 2021, and we're predicting that we'll be back to normal by 2022.
Well, Joramco has a great range of approvals for different aircraft types, including, of course, now the A320neo, the Boeing 737 MAX and the 787s. Is that the future?
We are. I mean, the future obviously has to be the neo and the 787. But by the same virtue, it's when you get into these aging out of production aircraft, as a third party independent, that's where we have our unique selling point, if you like. An airline MRO to a certain extent is tied by its fleet, whereas we have a much broader span. Now, that has its own challenges because maintaining your workforce with multiple type approvals is expensive, but it's part of our overall business plan. So, I mean, you mentioned the 737 MAX. I mean, we are an approved centre for the return to service of the MAXes. So we're working closely with Boeing on that. But again, we should have been doing some of those return to service procedures now, but again, we can't because of COVID. The aircraft are stuck in their own locations. So again, that's going to come as a bit of a wave, probably towards the latter half of December.
And finally, Fraser, I want to talk about people. Joramco set up its own academy, but are there still opportunities for young people, or has the academy been closed for COVID?
No, not at all. We've increased the push on the academy. We set up a number of scholarships at the beginning of this year, towards the back end of last. And no, those scholars are now in and working in the academy. I mean, the academy is the lifeblood of this business, and Jordan has a wealth of experienced talent. So when you come into this facility, you'll find that 99.5% of the labor is Jordanian. Joramco is for Jordanian nationals, and we have sufficient talent in the country to be able to, one, have a temporary labor pool to meet the peaks in the winter, and a very capable, very intelligent youth who are very keen to join the industry. So no, the academy is the lifeblood and will continue to be focused. No plans to reduce it at all, only increase it.
Fraser, it's been great to hear optimism about the future, and clearly Jordan is the place to be going to. So good luck with bringing in more airlines, of course, when you've got the space to fit them in.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Well, that was Fraser Currie from Joramco talking about MRO. Don't forget you can see more about these programs on our website. Thanks for watching.